Now, President Trump has said he's prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act, if necessary, to overcome opposition to the use of National Guard troops to police U.S. cities. The rarely used Insurrection Act allows the president to deploy the military at home to combat unrest. The act hasn't been invoked since 1992. Democratic state governors have accused the president of abusing his powers, while a judge in Oregon has blocked the deployment of troops. In Illinois, a different judge has declined to stop the deployment of troops. Democratic state governors have accused the president of abusing his power to militarize American cities.
The White House.
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed. We have to make sure that our cities are safe. And it's turning out, and we started with D.C., it's been so successful.
President Trump. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former New York City Council candidate, George Onuorah, who was a Democrat, but his opposition to local Democratic politics in New York saw him cross the political aisle and join the Republicans. And George Onuorah joins me now in the studio. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Charles.
I don't think I've seen you since you tried for that council seat in New York quite a few years ago.
Yes,
I mean, we haven't spoken.
Yeah, 2021, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. Well, we'll come to some of that in a minute. But let me start by asking you what you make of President Trump's plans to send National Guard troops to Democrat-controlled cities. I understand Chicago is now in his crosshairs as a result of his decision to send 300 troops there to address what he called a war zone.
So, what President Trump is doing is actually trying to contain the resultant effect of the influx of migrants. During the Biden administration, there were people that came in from the border unvetted. Some of those people are people of unquestionable mindset, ideology, and whatever. So what you have in major cities in the U.S. now, you have an uptick in crime. So, and you have to know that public safety is the foundation, should be the foundation of any society. Without safety, without people feeling free to walk about in their domain or where they live, that spells trouble.
But is it about safety? Because according to all the statistics that we're seeing, crime is actually coming down, not going up. And as you're a former Democrat,
right.
I wonder what you think of the suggestion by Democratic governors that the president is abusing his powers by attempting to militarize American cities and targeting political opponents.
You know, it's because, to me, personally, and what I've heard others say is that this is a question of politics. You have two opposing political viewpoints, and Trump, you know, I mean, sometimes his reputation precedes him. And what he came to do is to make sure that Americans are safe, to build an America First nation. That's why he's, you know, MAGA. Make America great again.
Yeah, but doesn't it look to you like you have a president who is using the military to go after his political opponents and potentially risking pushing America into a constitutional crisis?
It depends on who is looking at things. You know, people look at things through their political lenses. You know, but a preponderance of Americans, especially those on the conservative side, just as some of my peers and I see things, those were avenues to contain the menace that's going on in the cities. New York City, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Los Angeles, etc. So it's a question of trying to maintain peace.
And all the crime in America is due to the immigrants who came in.
The migrants a lot of them were not vetted. They just rushed through the borders. because of the porous nature, and aided by Biden administration lackadaisical policies, and that's what it is.
But I mean, in America, well, let me put it this way. Donald Trump has said that the troops, kind of echoing what you're saying, are there to protect immigration officers and immigration facilities who he claim are under attack. I mean, but as I said, there is no emergency there. I mean, from all the evidence that's available, and journalists on both sides of the aisle have been making those assessments. No one is unleashing violence on anyone. And in fact, many people, according to surveys, say that it is President Trump who is trying to incite violence.
Quite to the contrary, because, for instance, in Washington, D.C., most recently, until Trump brought in the National Guard and some of the military folks, Washington, D.C., people get mugged. People have been killed on the street.
Yeah, but people have always been killed. America is a society that has armed itself and carries out mass shootings all the time. Yeah, but it doesn't matter who is in office.
Yeah, but it's just gotten to the point where the safety of individuals are really compromised and people are not feeling safe again.
Yeah, but you don't use the military for law enforcement, do you? I mean, it looks like he's picking out Democrat-run cities to place the military. Doesn't that rub you up the wrong way?
No, it doesn't, because right now he's talking about going into Republican state, cities, Memphis, Tennessee, and so on and so forth. So I don't think, people can color that, as Trump having a vendetta against a democratic state or cities. But, to me, public safety has to be, prevalent for order.
Right. It's got to take priority in your assessment.
Definitely.
Well, let's talk about you and your politics. The last time we spoke, as I said, a couple of years ago, you were a Democrat.
Yes.
And you were a New York City Council candidate. But now you've become a Republican, marking the end of that streak as a Democrat. Outline for us the reasons that made you switch sides.
For me, it's not really about party per se. I've always believed in leadership, strong leadership, bold leadership, transparent leadership. Even before I moved to America, I was in the Boy Scout, and I've been quite immersed in the idea that you have to have stability in any community, society, or the city. So I became a Republican because I was persuaded by the values. I wanted to be part of law and order. I want to see a law and order society where there's safety, where people are not afraid to walk the street, and things like that are the things that, drew me into becoming a Republican. And also, with the Biden administration bringing all those thousands of migrants in the states, that has unleashed a lot of craziness. Crime has gone up, especially in the subways.
Right.
So that really perturbed me, and then
you carpet crossed.
Yeah, I decided that it's not really about ideology and this and that, but safety.
Well, I was going to say that you'd fit right in here in Nigeria, where the order of the day is defecting from one party to another. I mean, would it be fair to say that you've taken that Nigerian defection streak to America?
Well, I've been in America for almost 40 years or thereabout. You know? So
but you still got the Nigerian blood running in your veins.
Right, and I don't want to lose my blood. You know?
Which is why you're here in Nigeria. Because
charity starts at home, and
well, let's move beyond that, because obviously it's up to you what your politics is. Let's talk a little bit about the politics of New York City, because I know that you're supporting Andrew Cuomo for mayor, and you say that Cuomo stands out because of his centrist approach. Right. He's committed to public safety, he's got a track record, but the popularity stakes seem to be in favor of the assembly member known as Zoran Mamdani. I mean, what's your sort of take on all that?
My take on that is that sometimes people get swayed by novelty. You know, Mamdani's, you know, he's only been in the New York State Assembly for 3 years and has not, you know, 3 years. He has not really, you know, been immersed in how government, you know, runs or real leadership. Compared him to Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo has been for a governor for a decade. You know, his experience.
Yeah, but Obama beat out people who had been. I mean, he never held the executive office.
Yeah,
but he became president and a very successful one at that.
Cuomo, economic development, for instance, one of his strong suits. LaGuardia Airport has seen a tremendous renovation that you wouldn't even believe. You know, it was Biden that said, "Oh, this is a third world airport." Right after that, Trump, you know, put in a lot of money to get it upgraded, that people are so, you know, appreciative. He built the Mario Cuomo Bridge, even though to keep the father's legacy is also part of that.
Yeah, but he's not winning, is he? I mean, the polls are not in his favor.
Right now, he's down by a little 15% or thereabouts.
That's a big gap
in politics,
to make up.
In politics, a day is like eternity.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see how that goes.
So
and sorry, go on, finish what you're saying.
I believe that Cuomo still has a chance to win. You know, the real poll is the poll that we have on election day. So he's mobilizing, he's moving out in the communities. I've actually brought him to meet some of our African communities, Nigerians, etc., and a couple of months ago. And I can see the reaction, you know, to his message, you know, his centrist values, his public safety pronouncements, and he's a solid leader, experienced, and when Cuomo tells you something, be rest assured that he's going to do it, even though he had little setback because of some, you know, issues.
So what's happening to all your Democratic allies now? I mean, because I mean, you were close to, you know, people like Bill Clinton and a lot of these other people, and of course New York is a very democratic city.
You know, but I was, you know, I had to overlook politics, you know, to go with my passion, you know, and religion also have to do with it. You know, I'm a strong Catholic, and some of the things about family values are not things that are, you know, is so watered down and diluted by the Democratic Party, abortion and so on and so forth. So, you know, so those are part of the things that are, you know.
So what's the future politically for you? Because, I mean, you tried for the New York City Council, you didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
What's next for you?
Yeah, I didn't get it because I ran against an incumbent that has been there for over 7 years with money and so on. But for me, politics is trying to educate the community, building the new generation of leaders. We have Nigerians in America encouraging them to be more active, to vote, and to play a greater role in their communities. Educating them about patriotism, good governance, and transparency. Those are things that I think will make a big difference. You know, at 67 years old now, you know, I feel that, you know, I've come to the place whereby I can do more by helping others. You know, so that's what it is. And then
and you don't feel a little bit alienated from American society as a result of people like Donald Trump coming in and turning his sort of sights on the so-called immigrants.
Yeah,
I mean, both legal and illegal.
Yes, when I think about Trump as a Republican, I try to kind of draw a line. I'm a Republican not because of Trump. Trump has his own mindset, the way he pushes, you know. I'm more like
so you're not a Trump supporter?
I'm more like a moderate centrist, someone with, you know.
So you're not a Trump supporter then? You don't lean towards his ideology?
I lean towards some of the things that he does, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, you're selective.
You know, yes, I'm I temper justice with mercy.
So what are the things about him that turn you off?
Trump is someone that, you know, is like a one-man quartet. You know, what he wants is what he wants. He tries to push it, people, and then fights with the Congress or whatever. But I believe in a total accommodation.
Consensus politics.
Consensus politics. That's
Right.
what I believe in, and this is something I've had throughout my life.
Right. So to that extent, you're a bit alienated from him.
Yes, but I still support some of his projects.
And what are those that you support?
Those are like, you know, to bring order in a city where there's crime, and to also invest in communities. To me, DEI, for instance, is not something that diversity, equity, and inclusion. You know, it's not something that it has something that has been taken to the next level, another level. I believe that, you know, people have to be promoted based on competence and their resume, not just to put someone in a position because they are black or this or that.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, but that's not what's happening, is it? I mean, what happens is that people say, okay, we need to fill a slot with someone of color because they've been deprived of that position. But when we go to look at people of color, we're going to find the best qualified.
The best qualified.
I mean, and that means that, you know, there are a lot of people who are black who are very well qualified.
Yeah.
They just have never been given the opportunity.
Given the opportunity,
Yeah.
whereas because of politics, a Democrat can pick up someone that's not really qualified and put them in a position because of
Yeah.
party.
Okay.
You know,
well,
so.
that's your opinion, and we respect that. George, I want to thank you very much indeed for coming in. George Onuorah was a former New York City Council candidate. He was a Democrat, but he has now joined the Republicans. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you again.
Thank you.